Welcome to Prof. Ansel's math video. This is a third math video. Today to look at the examination for General Certificate of Education Ordinary Level Math Paper 2 for the year 2020. In this paper, we're going to consider question number 1B and question number 2B. The question is on probability. The question reads as follows. Mutola and Mwambi were to be selected as members of a netball team. The probability of selecting Mutola is 7 over 8 and that of selecting Mwambi is 9 over 10. Find the probability that only one of them is selected. Number 2, find the probability that none of them is selected. So what you're supposed to do, it's very easy. What you do here is, let's check their probabilities. Let's check their probabilities. So let's know the probability of Mutola being selected. So say probability of Mutola is given as 7 over 8, and let's get to know the probability of not selecting Mutola. Probability of Mutola is 7 over 8. Let us also know the probability of not Mutola as part of our data. This has to be part of our data here. So the probability of selecting Mutola is 7 over 8 and the probability of not selecting Mutola will be 1 over 8. Will be 1 over 8 in the sense that we're going to subtract the probability of Mutola being selected from 1, and that will give us the probability of not Mutola having been selected, and this will be 1 over 8. This we know from the laws of probabilities. We know that the event happening plus event not happening gives us 1. The event happening plus the event not happening will give us 1. So for us, we know here the event happening, which is Mutola being selected, is 7 over 8. Now the event not happening, Mutola not being selected, will be 1 minus 7 over 8, and this is what we get here. This is 1 over 8 here if you do that. Okay, remember at the end of the day they should be such that if we add 7 over 8 plus 1 over 8, we must be able to get 1. That's according to the laws of probabilities. According to the laws of probabilities. So then we've done part 1 here. Let's do part 2 under our data. Let's understand here as well that the probability of selecting Mwambi this is equal to 9 over 10. So let's also get the probability of not Mwambi. So we'll do the same thing. Not Mwambi, it will be 1 minus 9 over 10 to get not Mwambi. So this will be 1. This will be 1 over 10. Okay, if we say 1 minus 9 over 10, we're going to get 1 over 10. That is true. Remember, it should be such that if we add 9 over 10 plus 1 over 10, we must be able to get 1. Okay, at this point, remember the question? The question wants us to find the probability that only one of them is selected. So what you do here, you say, to answer question number 1, you now come here and with this very important data, you go to question number 1, which says, find the probability of selecting only one. Okay, so only one selected. So say only one selected. This will be, if it's only one selected, then we know here to say this will be the probability of Mutola and not Mwambi. Okay, probability of Mutola and not Mwambi, or probability of Mwambi and not observe and not Mutola. This is very important. So you need to understand, the question is find the probability of selecting only one person. So here you say the probability of Mutola and not Mwambi, or Mwambi and not Mutola. Here it is only one person being selected, Mutola and not Mwambi, or Mwambi not Mutola. You've seen that? Mutola and not Mwambi, or Mwambi and not Mutola. Okay, quite interesting, right? So from there, it's just a matter of substituting there. So where there is Mutola, we know the probability of Mutola. Here, Mutola is 7 over 8. So put 7 over 8 here. 7 over 8. And the word and in probability, it means multiplication. So we need to multiply here. If you see and or both, it simply means, and the both, it simply means they both mean the same thing. We need to multiply the probabilities. So Mutola and not Mwambi will say, and the word and simply means times. Okay, not Mwambi, we already have what not Mwambi is. We know here is 1 over 10. So we put 1 over 10 here. We write 1 over 10 here. Okay, then of course we put them in brackets. Then the word or in probabilities, it simply means plus. Please take note, the word or in probabilities simply means plus. Okay, let's move on. The probability of Mwambi, okay, probability of Mwambi and not Mutola, okay, Mwambi and not Mutola. Okay, so say Mwambi, for Mwambi is which one? Let's check here. Mwambi is 9 over 10, so we'll write 9 over 10 here. Remember once again, the word and simply means multiplication, so we need to multiply here. Times what? Times not Mutola, rather, not Mutola, which we know to say not Mutola is 1 over 8. So we're going to write 1 over 80 here and close the brackets here. Okay, that's what you do. That's what you do here. Remember, we are only selecting one person. So that will be probability of Mutola and not Mwambi, or Mwambi and not Mutola. It's still one person here. Okay, this is what you do. Then you go further and simplify this. This will give you 7 times 1, that is 7, over 8 times 10, that is 80, plus 9 times 1, that is 9. The numerators there, the denominators have got 10 and 8. 8 times 10, that is 80. So here we have got our same denominators. We need to add the numerators. So we just have one denominator, and you say 7 plus 9. So that this gives us 9 plus 7, we are getting 16. So 16 over 80. But remember, you need to simplify this. 16 into 16 is 1. 16 into 80 is 5. You write it here, and this is our answer. Okay, this is our answer. Good. Let's move on to number 2. Question number 2. Question number 2. Question number 2. It says. Question number 2. It says, find the probability that none of them is selected. Okay, none of them is selected. Let's go back and see how we answer this question, part number 2. Let's see how we answer this beautiful question. So number 2, it says, find the probability of none selected. None is selected. Okay, so the probability of none is selected, it is just as simple as saying probability of not Mutola and not Mwambi. As simple as this, because here we are looking at it, none of them is selected. So none of them is selected, so that will be not Mutola and not Mwambi. As simple as that. Then we already have what not Mutola probability is. Where is it? We check on our data there. Observe, not Mutola is up here, is 1 over 8, and not Mwambi is just down here, 1 over 10. So let's multiply the two probabilities and see what we're going to get. So not Mutola is 1 over 8. The word and still remember, the word and means times. So we multiply here. Not Mwambi, already we have, it's 1 over 10. Then we multiply the two probabilities. We're going to have 1 times 1, that is 1. 8 times 10, that is 80. And this is the answer. This is the probability of not selecting any one of the two. Okay, this is how we get this answer here. Good. Now I want us to turn to question number 2. Question number 2. Question number 2. Let's see how we answer this question number 2. It was as simple as that one as well. So let us look at question number 2b. So this is the question. It has to do with the geometric progression, GP. The question reads, the sum of any terms of a geometric progression, GP, is given by 10, this formula here, 10 minus 10 over 2 to the n power. Find, number 1, the sum of the first 4 terms of this GP. Number 2, find the first term. Number 3, find the first 4 terms. So how do you go about this question? Very simple. So what you do here is you are going to use this formula in the question. And we know the formula in the question is the sum of n terms. So this formula is given as sum of the first n term is given by this formula 10 minus 10 over 2 to the n power. So what are you supposed to do? Very simple. Since the question wants us to find the sum of the first 4 terms of this GP, where there is n, we're going to put 4. Okay, if you go on your data where there is n, you're going to put the 4. So here, this one, it will be sum of the first 4 terms. So you put your 4 here, you go further, 10 minus 10 over 2 to the power 4. What are you going to have here? Sum of the first 4 terms here is given as 10 minus 10 over 16. 2 to the 4th, that is 16. So we go further and simplify this one. If you simplify this one, we're going to have the lowest common multiple here is 16. 1 into 16 is 16. 16 times 10, that is 160, minus 16 into 16 is 1. 1 times 10, that is 10. We simplify this one. What we have, we are going to appreciate that we have, we're going to have 160 times minus 10. This gives us 150 over 16. Let's simplify this one. S sub 4, we know this will give us, okay, you can say 2 into 150. We know 2 into 15, it goes 7, remainder 1. 2 into 10, it goes 5. But 2 into 16, we know it goes 8. So at the end of the day, the sum of the first 4 terms will be 75 over 8. And this is a solution. Okay, this is our answer here. Now let's move on to question number 2. Question number B2. B2 it says find the first term. How do you find the first term? So how you find the first term is very, very simple. So since we want to find, this was B1, please take note, this was B1. Now let's move on to B2. So B2, we are finding first term. So how do you find the first term? Very easy. You just use the same formula given, sum S sub n. This gives us 10 minus 10 over 2 to the power n. Okay, this is the formula that I've been given. Now take note, what you're finding here is the first term A. That's what you're finding. Now this first term A here, how do you find it? How you find it is very easy. You will know here to say first term and can be found if we use this formula and say we find the sum of the first one term. The sum of the first one term. So where there is n, we're going to put 1. So say sum of the first one term and the first term is one and the same thing. Okay, this is what you must understand. Okay, this is what you must understand. Okay, the sum of the first one term and first term is one and the same thing. So where there is n here, the fact that you've been given this particular formula, it's just a matter of us putting, or substituting. Where there is n, we put 1, since we are finding the sum of the first one term, which will give us the first term A. Okay, that's what you do. So this one will say S sub 1. This will give us 10 minus 10 over 2 to the power 1 here. Okay, then let's simplify this one. If you simplify this one, we're going to have s sub 1, this will be equal to 10 minus 10 over 2. Let's simplify further. This will give us 10 minus 2 into 10. This will give us 5. Therefore, S1, the sum of the first one term will be 10 minus 5, that is 5. Okay, which we can say, therefore, we can say, therefore, first term A is actually 5, and this is the answer to this question. Okay, that's how you find the first term given such a situation. Okay, now let's move on to the last part. The last part, that is part number B3. So B3. So B3 is very easy as well. Okay, B3, it wants us to find the first 4 terms now. Okay, so how do you find the first 4 terms? So first 4 terms. So want to know the first 4 terms. Remember, first term we've already found it. The first term is A. Now we want the second term. So we are saying the first term is A, second term it will be AR, the third term it will be AR squared, and the fourth term it will be AR to the power 4. Isn't it? To the power 3, sorry, to the power 3. Okay, so we're going to say first term is A, second term is AR, and the third term is AR to the second power, and the fourth one will be AR to the third term, to the third power here. Okay, so that's what we're going to have. So how you do this one is very easy. We're just going to find the sum of the first 2 terms. So what you do here, just to do this, I'll say first find the sum of the first 2 terms, then you'll be home and dry. So for example, we're going to say first term A plus C, second term AR. Okay, this is what you must do. Okay, this is what you must do. You understand? Good. So then, how do you do this? This is a weapon that we're going to use. Very important. Now, before we do that, it's important to know the sum of these first 2 terms by using the same formula that has been provided to us. And the formula is the same formula in the question, that is to say Sn is equal to 10 minus 10 over 2 to the power n. Look at how interesting this is. So we're going to find the sum of the first 2 terms. Remember, sum of the first 2 terms. So where there is n, we put the 2. So we say S sub 2. This will be 10 minus 10 over 2 to the power 2. So this will be S sub 2 is equal to 10 minus 10 over 2 to the second. It's 4, correct? You go further if you want. You can simplify 10 into 10. 2 into 10, that is 5. 2 into 4, that is 2. Okay, we simplify. S2 is equal to 10 minus 5 halves. What are we going to have? If you simplify this one, we're going to have the LCM here is 2. 1 into 2 is 2. 2 times 10, that is 20. Okay, minus 2 into 2 is 1. 1 by 5, it's 5, correct? So we're going to see S2 here is, if you simplify, 20 minus 5, that is 15. 15 over 2. So 15 over 2 is the sum of the first 2 terms. So now, observe. This is the sum of the first 2 terms, which is A plus AR, which is equal to, remember, it is equal to 15 over 2. So we're going to equate A plus AR to 15 over 2. So this, if we do that, this will be like this. We're going to say A plus AR is equal to 15 over 2. That's what it means. The sum of the first two terms is equal to 15 over 2. Okay, that's what you do. But we know what A is. Remember, A is, but we know to say, so you can say, but A, we know. To say, but A, we know is 5. We've already found A, and A is 5. It's here. You've seen? A is 5. Have you seen? It's just right here, okay? So what you do here is, where there is A in this particular formula here, you simply put your 5, okay? So in this formula, this is A, so say 5 plus again 5r, this will give us 15 halves, okay? Now remember, the idea, you just want to find the r. Now how do you find the r here? It's an equation, isn't it? So we make r the subject of formula. So here we're going to group like terms. So say 5r is equal to 15 over 2. When 5 comes the other side here, or in other words, when we add the additive inverse of 5, it will be minus 5 here as well, right? So when you do this, you say 5r is equal to, okay, the LCM here, this is 15 minus, that is 10, right? This is 10. 1 into 2, 1 into 2 is 2. 2 times 5, that is 10. So 15 minus 10. So 5r is equal to 15 minus 10. Remember, what is 15 minus 10? 15 minus 10 is 5. So 5 over 2. Here we can actually, multiply by the reciprocal of 5, which we know the reciprocal of 5 is simply 1 over 5 on both sides. So we're going to multiply by 1 over 5 here. Also here we multiply by 1 over 5, so that we get rid of this 5 here, so that we just remain with the r. And if you multiply 1 over 5 times 5 here, it will give us 1. 1 times r is r. 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 5 is 1. So say 1 times 1 is 1. Okay? So 1 times r is just r. Okay? This will give us, okay, 5 over 2 times 1 over 5, right? If you simplify this, you appreciate that 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 5 here is 1. Then you multiply the numerators. 1 times 1 is 1 over 2 times 1 is 2. Therefore our r is equal to 1 over 2. Now that r has been found, it's very easy to find the sum of the first 4 terms. Remember, they are here. Okay? They are here. So now it's very easy. We can now write them this way. We can say this A here, we already know. If you want, you can write them up here so that you see what we are doing. Okay? Naturally, we know to say the first term of the GP is A, the second term of the GP is AR, the third term of a GP is AR squared, and the fourth term is AR to the power 3, isn't it? This much we know from that formula, this much we know. Do you remember the formula? The formula is Tn is equal to AR to the power n minus 1, isn't it? You do well to remember this. And this is exactly what we're doing here. So A, however, we know what A is. A is 5. Remember, this A here is still 5, but R this time, we know what R is. So R is 1 over 2. Let's go on. Again, A is 5 times R is 1 over 2. 1 over 2 this time around is squared. So 1 over 2 squared, this will give us 1 over 4, comma, A we know is 5, okay, we're going to multiply it, 1 over 2 to the power 3, that will give us 1 over 8, isn't it? Okay, then at the end of the day, we just simplify this. When you simplify this, we're going to finally have these terms. 5, you write your 5 here, that's the first one. Second one, 5 times 1 half, it will just be 5 over 2. Number 3, 5 times 1 quarter, it will be just 5 over 4, which is just 5 quarters. And of course the last one, 5 times 1 over 8, this will be 5 eighths. Okay, and therefore the first 4 terms of a GP are 5 over 2, 5 over 4 and 5 over 8, and this is a solution. Okay, this is a solution. Okay, so please, I urge you to go through this video and step by step understand from the probability question until the GP question. Pause the video whenever you wish so that you try to understand the concept behind. Thank you so much for your time, and please remember to like, comment, and indeed subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and see you in my next video.